Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage, where we check out games, review the ones that we can, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course stream for fun. Today we're looking at gaming news for the first week of August. Now there's actually a lot of stuff that's come out. We're at a new month. We're getting close to the end of a quarter, and we got some other things that have finally kind of finished and finalized or that are coming out. And so, boy, there is a bunch. So strap in at least probably for an hour, and let's get talking about this. Let me check my audio quick here, and I'm gonna be a little woo because I'm a little pretty tired. So yeah, my audio so far sounds pretty good. Yeah, I hope the audio does not mess up on this one because that will be awful. I really don't want to have to redo this. But anyway, hey, vacation was great. I had a good time. We got to see some amazing aircraft in the sky and had a really good time. So, but yeah, strap in. So we're going to be going through quite a bit. First, we're going to talk about Ubisoft. We're going to talk about some um, possible leaks about the Switch 2. We're going to chat about some stuff about the ESRB and the Final Fantasy 16. We're going to talk about Antstream, Old COD servers, Sky Oblivion. What the heck is that? We're going to go talk about games coming out in August that look pretty good. And then we are going to look at Baldur's Gate 3. And yeah, that's going to be the bulk of it. So, boy, let's get started. So, we're going to, since most of this is actually kind of big news, at least kind of generally for everybody, there's a whole lot that I did skip over that also came out this week. But yeah, first let's talk about Ubisoft. So Ubisoft itself, we found out that they're going to be canceling Immortal Phoenix 2. So Immortal Phoenix Rising was a game that came out. It was kind of like an alternative, like Breath of the Wild, if you will. And a fairly good reception, but it was just kind of skipped under the weather there and shoved under the rug. And it really didn't have that big of a launch or anything. It didn't sell that well. And Ubisoft didn't necessarily like that, so they're canceling Immortals 2, which is kind of a bummer. Even though they said that Immortals Phoenix Rising 1 actually did pretty well, it met expectations. They're going to be throwing it down the sewer because, well, they're going to be... Yeah, we're going to get into that. Ubisoft 2 is also having... we found out that they're going to be having Star Wars Outlaws coming out in 2024, of course. And they've said some things about their game which is not necessarily good, and also about Assassin's Creed Mirage. So with Star Wars Outlaws, they're saying, our game isn't an unbeatable 300-hour RPG. Now, when you have a Star Wars open-world fantasy sci-fi tech kind of game, and this is your first real attempt at a massive open-world area and a lot to do, right? Later this year, we're going to be having Starfield. Why would you say that? Like, why would you say that it's not an unbeatable 300-hour RPG? I would be kind of worried that it's, even 100 hours. I would hope it would be with the first Star Wars open world game. Now, what we know about Star Wars Outlaws is that it's not this huge, massive, every single planet is in existence type of open world, but there's going to be multiple planets. There's going to be some space engagement, and during the trailer, I did gameplay trailer. I did have some of my reservations. Some of the combat and like the little companion that you have. Some of it was a little too similar for my liking for Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order. So I hope it's not another copy and paste kind of a thing. And I do hope it's good. I mean, the graphics looked pretty good. Some of the dialogue was a little quippy or whatever, but ultimately the gameplay of experiencing the Star Wars universe is what we're really looking for. That's kind of the expectation. But the fact that they're saying that it's not an unbeatable 300-hour RPG kind of has me worried a little bit that the game's actually maybe smaller than we anticipate. So hopefully I'm wrong. But some have said that they're referencing this quote to Baldur's Gate 3, and others are referencing it to their Odyssey and Valhalla games that they made earlier. And I would say even their Origins. I mean, just the sheer size of the expanse of those games and the amount of DLC and opportunities for DLC that they have to make even in those games still today is wonderful. I mean, they did a wonderful job on those games. and the world is so big. But I'm hoping that now that we have an entire universe to, or galaxy to play in, that they're not kind of squelching it down and trying to make the game smaller. And another reason that I have is, again, this is a $70 game. So, it better be worth the money that we're putting into it. Another issue, or another thing that still has me worried about the same issue, is we know that Assassin's Creed Mirage is now 20 to 30 hours of gameplay, and it is $50. But I mean, on average, 25 hours to play the game. We found out too that Assassin's Creed Mirage was supposed to be DLC for Valhalla. Let that one sink in. They had a whole other DLC planned, and they're like, "Now we're just going to make this a full game," and say that, "Hey, we're bringing it back to the roots because lately, Assassin's Creed stuff, Ubisoft stuff hasn't been doing very good, and so we're wanting to, make another Assassin's Creed, and we'll just take some DLC and turn it into a new game." So again, it's $50, but man, only maybe 25, 30 hours max. That's kind of a bummer. I mean, Valhalla was easily over 50 hours probably for most people. And then if you work on doing everything, it's probably about 70, maybe 100 hours, depending on how slow you are. Same with Origins, huge game. And I've heard too with Odyssey, it's the same deal. But now we're getting an Assassin's Creed game that's bringing it back to the roots with only 20 to 30 hours. That's horrible. And so I will say already that I've canceled my pre-order for Assassin's Creed Mirage. I know you guys voted for that one, but I just don't think that one's really going to be worth the money. Some other concerns that I had was going back to the roots is that they implemented some kind of like a chain link of assassinations where the game just does it for you. The game, I think, already does enough in most cases, but I really didn't enjoy that either. And then hearing that it's a DLC just kind of reconfirmed that, yeah, I didn't necessarily want to buy this game because it's not going to be very big. And this kind of makes me think, too, of like, the Modern Warfare 2, their DLC launching this year was supposed to be DLC, but instead it's going to be a whole new game for $70 called Modern Warfare 3. That'll be in November. And so, again, we're kind of getting into this trend of, like, not wanting to make it too big, wanting to kind of, quote, go back to the roots or kind of say whatever they need to say. I mean, they won't even call NFTs anymore. They're now like digital creations or digital assets. And so they're just kind of rechanging the names. And then we're finding out that with at least a couple games now that the DLC is now a full game. And they just want to have us pay more money. So what a bummer, folks. What a bummer. I mean, what do you guys think? Are you guys excited for Mirage? Are you excited for the next Far Cry, the next Rainbow Six, which they haven't made a full-blown Rainbow Six in forever, in my opinion. They scrapped Patriots, and now came Siege, which was what was left of the multiplayer. And then they just kept it going. But yeah, the trend, in my opinion, is not overly good, folks. So yeah, I ditched Mirage, and I'm going to be getting Lords of the Fallen. I'm much more excited about that one. And if you are interested about Lords of the Fallen, I've done an in-depth analysis on my channel, and you can find that in Game Reviews playlist, I believe. So yeah, it's on there, and you'll be able to tell pretty quick. It's actually one of the nicest thumbnails I think I've ever made. Also, we found out that Ubisoft is currently having 2,000 developers working on 6 Assassin's Creed games. And so, why was Immortals 2 canceled? That's why, folks. Ubisoft last year had a horrible year. 21 wasn't really that great either compared to its competitors. And 23 isn't shaping up to be that wonderful either. Their showcase was really bad. It was the least favorite, in my opinion, out of all of them. And so now they're just pushing this Assassin's Creed thing to death. Hence, Assassin's Creed Mirage, that used to be DLC, to now a full-blown game. So these are the code names that we know of. These 6 Assassin's Creed games is Mirage, we already know about that one. Red, Hex, Invictus. 2 mobile games. Those ones will be collaboration. One will be a collaboration with Netflix. The other one is codenamed Jade. So they're going to be raising an additional 800 developers over the next several years, pulling them from other IPs and other franchises to make these 6 Assassin's Creed games. So there's 3 unknown games that we know were canceled by January of this year, and there were 6 other games earlier before that. So they've canceled a total of 9 games so far that would kind of help liven up their kind of span of games out there to play. And instead, now they're just kind of seemingly going in all in one franchise. And so these are going to be their big ones, which is a bummer. Games that are coming that we know of in 2023 is going to be Mirage, Avatar 2, Rainbow Six Mobile, good luck with that, Division Mobile, Just Dance, The Prince of Persia Lost Crown, which is a side-scroller, Skull and Bones, which, I don't know, good luck to that. I think, honestly, it's next year. Crew Motorfest, and X Defiant, which is a free-to-play game. That's basically Call of Duty as a free-to-play game, right? It's like Apex, except it's even smaller, smaller scale. But what about the Prince of Persia remaster? We haven't heard a freaking word about that. Is that another one of the games that they canceled? We know that Immortals 2 is canceled. What are the other ones? Honestly, we don't know. And so none of these games are overly enticing. None of them are super exciting. The mobile games, I don't care. Just Dance, I don't care. I don't care about a Prince of Persia side-scroller when we were supposed to have a remaster of Prince of Persia. I don't care about a free-to-play X-Defiant game that's basically Call of Duty with a different name. I'm not excited for Motorfest because I prefer Forza on top of that. Even Need for Speed Heat, man, that game's amazing. Not the Unbound, that's junk. I'm not excited for Skull and Bones because that's, again, just horrible. Avatar 2, I'm not excited for their, going green push. So yeah, I'm just not overly excited about really anything coming out with Ubisoft. I mean, if they had a Rainbow Six game where the full campaign was, 18 missions of, or maybe even somewhat of an open world where they took Division, made it a little less looty, you know what I mean? And just focusing on the story, I think that would be more fun. Whip up something where it's like, there's some assassination attempt and you're trying to figure out what group, and you find out this terrorist organization or, pick another country, right, is trying to go after the president, or even an inside job. And at the end, you get to resolve, you get to catch the bad guy, figure out what's going on, and keep the president as the president. Or maybe the president was the bad guy and orchestrated it all himself. There's a whole new kind of interesting way to portray that, right? And we haven't had that in games for a very long time. But Rainbow Six, all we know is like, oh, it's Siege. That's all we've had for ever. And I don't even include Rainbow Six Extraction because that's COD Zombies with a really bad iteration. I don't even know if I have that one on the channel, folks, but I did review that one, and it's just fugly. It's just really bad. So yeah, they need to not totally kill off all of their IPs, and they need to quit trying to do remasters too, and get rid of these mobile games. I'm so tired of these mobile games. I'm ready for real games. I know these mobiles make money, but honestly, companies need to get away from that and actually start making something good. We also we do know there's a Splinter Cell game coming in the future. No idea when, so it's way in the future. We also know that Beyond Good and Evil will probably never likely come out. So Immortal 2 is gone. Did they get rid of Prince of Persia Remaster? Beyond Good and Evil 2, that's probably never coming out. That's like 15, 16 years now. And then again, they're just following the biggest bang for their buck. And I feel like a lot of the bigger companies are doing this. And this has gotten really frustrating because the whole kind of like following the AAA, following the trend stuff has just oversaturated everything. Oh my goodness, think of like PUBG and Fortnite and what that created. It's literally why we have the gaming space we have today. They made it, we accepted it, and this is why gaming is the way it is. And so yeah, I'm so tired of this. So yeah, really nothing good coming from Ubisoft. And it's all kind of interwoven, all 4 news bulletins. But yeah, what do you guys think of Ubisoft? Are you excited about anything? And if you are, hey, great, that's wonderful. I'm glad somebody is. But I'm so tired of just having half-baked games, mobile stuff, making it super XG grindy. And I think Division would actually be fun if it wasn't so grindy. Yeah, I'm just ready for better stuff. Let's see. We also heard. So another thing we did find out was the ESRB has asked the FTC in the United States if they can use facial recognition software to prevent underage kids, basically minors, from playing rated M titles. Well, that's kind of exciting for parents. I mean, I have boys of my own. They're not old enough to really play games yet, but I mean, do we really want facial recognition software to be in our hobbies? I mean, for Pete's sakes, we don't even have that in our background check system. We don't have that for the FBI either. They do have that, I think, for passports and for some state IDs. Like Oregon did a state ID like that. I wouldn't be surprised if California had that as well. But facial recognition software, I mean, do we really want third-party companies or even governments fiddling around with being able to see exactly who that is and where they were, and just this kind of over-glorified tracking system that can recognize and pinpoint everything? You know, even to the point where they can integrate stuff into like your smartphones, your smart devices. I mean, I think of the company that makes like those little robotic vacuums. Well, they find out that there's actually a camera in those little vacuums, the sensor, right? And the sensor actually takes pictures, and then that stuff gets uploaded to the servers, and so they have pictures of naked people walking around in their house. And so if they implement something like this, I mean, how is this even going to go over? You have to like scan your kid's face in. They say, hey, this is not going to be permanent pictures. These pictures are not going to be stored. But then again, I mean, how do they know that that is you? I mean, yeah, there's no reason why they need to do this. There's no reason why the ESRB needs to become the parent of the parents' kids. I can parent my own kids, and I do, and everyone else should be able to do that too. And I don't necessarily agree with how other parents parent, and I'm sure others don't agree with me either, my wife and I. But I mean, those are our children. We should have the right above every form of institution and government and public opinion what we can do with our kids and raising them. This doesn't mean we should abuse them. This doesn't mean we should be menacing to them. This doesn't mean that we should be, relating them to sexual content, while they're a minor. We shouldn't be doing that type of stuff, and I also think that shouldn't be in our school's curriculum either. But parents should be able to decide. Because we all know what happens when the government gets involved, folks. For those of us that are paying attention, we know that 100% of the time, they muck it up. And so I'm not a fan of this. I'm really hoping this becomes a Supreme Court thing, and there's some kind of a decision that I agree with. But again, it's not up to me. It's ultimately up to the FTC. So we'll see what happens. Something else is we did find out Final Fantasy 16 will be coming to Xbox in spring 2024. So this kind of flipped out a little bit, and was kind of a leak, I think, at first, and then it's been confirmed. But Square Enix is looking to make some more money as they didn't get the sales they wanted on PlayStation. So at least Sony is asking for timed exclusives. They've been doing this for a long time. But yeah, spring of next year, we'll be getting Final Fantasy 16 on Xbox. So for those of you that played 15 on Xbox, you got to wait less than a year, basically 9 months, and you'll get it. We also had some leaks of the Twitch 2. So this will be released the second half of 2024. The whole reason is because Nintendo is seeing their sales slide. Not just for consoles, but also for accessories and games and etc. And so they're wanting to create something else so they can get some more revenue into their company. In some of their areas, they saw as much as 16.5% drop in sales, which is a lot. That's a pretty fast deceleration, if you ask me. I don't think Nintendo is necessarily calculating the recession that we're in or that other countries are in, when you have a global market. But what do we know about the Switch 2? Well, nothing's overly confirmed, but we know that it'll still be a home mobile console, just like the Switch is today. We know it'll have some higher-end hardware that the files for video games will be bigger since they can be, graphically enhanced and have higher maybe frame rate or more consistent frame rate. So there's going to be a little bit of upgrade there to the hardware. The screen is still going to be an LED screen, not a OLED, even though they could put that tech in today. And then things are likely, I say likely, to be backwards compatible. So Nintendo knows that they have an entire fan base of 100 million plus console users that bought their console, and they want, to remember that, hey, they bought our console, they should probably want to be able to play those games and just kind of graft it right over. So I'm sure they're working on that, and I'm sure they'll do something like that. Nintendo has always been a pretty nice consumer-oriented company, and that's why their consoles are never super expensive, not super high-end. It's all about the experience and the gameplay value of their IPs and their hardware, which is nice. And so, yeah, we it's pretty safe to say, I think, that things will be backwards compatible. We know, too, that this console will probably be $300-400. So it's not going to have an OLED. I think it's probably closer to $300. But it is going to have an upgrade in hardware. And, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. So, again, this is second half sometime of next year. So we got some time to wait to see what happens. Now, let's see. Next is the Skyblivion. So I mentioned this earlier. This is slotted for 2025, and this is crazy, folks. So Skyblivion is basically a remaster of Oblivion, and but it's a mod that you can attach to Skyrim. And just about everybody has Skyrim. They made 7 different versions of it, so probably everybody has it somewhere in some way. And the thing that's insane is this mod is so big. It is so incredibly big. So it's 100% of the Oblivion game, 1-to-1 scale, with everything remastered and redone, and even adding some extra quests and different and things like that into the game. If they have enough time, they're going to also do the DLC and put that out. And the most wonderful thing about this is that it's all free. You don't have to pay for this. This is just a simple mod. There's no store. There's no, connection, whatever. You can just, when it's completed, hop on and download it for free and enjoy it in your Skyrim game. Isn't that insane? The entire project is run by volunteers. They've been going, since 2016, something like that. And everything is remastered from the original game. They are looking for more volunteers. They have completed a lot of the game, but they're still looking for others that know how to build and construct and probably Blender and some others. But yeah, they're asking people from all over the world if people can help finish the game. They're fairly close, but there's still a lot to do. So if you're curious or want to take a look yourself, they do have some other information. They have their own channel on YouTube, which is Rebel Z's, and that is Rebel with Z-I-Z-E at the end. So again, that's Rebel Z's, and you can type that in, and it'll pull up. Their profile icon is the Oblivion symbol, so you'll recognize it pretty much right away. And so far, this is the largest modded project to date. It's insane. It's insane what they're doing. So I'm kind of excited for this. There might be plans later to actually make some kind of a console port. But for right now, they're just going to focus on the PC port in 2025. Let's see, something else. All of the old COD servers, I shouldn't say all, but most of the old COD servers are now fixed and actually running matchmaking on Xbox. We know that it is confirmed that it's not on PC and that it's also not on PlayStation. It's just on Xbox so far, but this happened right after Xbox won their lawsuit with the FTC. The U.S. Supreme Court said, FTC, you don't have enough, you don't have a good enough argument. We're going to allow Microsoft to merge with Activision Blizzard and buy them. And so pretty much right after that happened, we got matchmaking for Modern Warfare 1, 2, 3, Black Ops 1, and World at War. And so hop on, folks. I mean, man, you want to play some zombies or you want to play some survival or go through the campaign like on World at War? Frick, yeah. Just put your whatever down below. Let me know you're interested, and we can chat and communicate. I'm on Xbox, and yeah, we can play sometime. I think that'd be so fun. So the issue though is that the servers still have hackers. There's still glitches. There's still lag. But again, they haven't had official matchmaking in a long time. And you can actually find, instead of waiting for hours, you can actually find games relatively quickly now. You still sometimes have to wait, but as people begin to figure out and understand, hey, this matchmaking is back, people are starting to come back to the game. And we've seen some pretty big numbers in people coming back. I mean, we're talking tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of players. It's pretty impressive. So it is very likely that these games are going to be added on Game Pass, and that's why Activision Blizzard has done this. Is because now that the merger is going to happen, these older games are going to be able to probably be free or included in some form of Xbox Game Pass in the future. And this also means that the glitches will be fixed, but they have to turn them on first. They have to make sure kind of everything works. It's kind of like, an old car. You make sure it starts, and then once it does, it's like, okay, let's figure out, the fluids and if the light bulbs don't work. And yeah, you'll fix the glitches in your car, right? And you'll get it all worked out. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Also, if people don't necessarily want to play but are kind of excited, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people playing some of these older games again on Xbox, and you'll probably be seeing this on Twitch or Kicker or whatever else. And so, if you're interested, Shepard and I are also going through the World at War campaign right now. And so far, we're having a blast. We've been through the first 4 missions. Those are uploaded in their own playlist on my channel at Gaming Garbage 22, and we'll be continuing to play the campaign until we finish. And then we'll be moving on to Black Ops 3, and we'll be doing that campaign. So check us out. Come join us. Let's see. A few more things. So next is Baldur's Gate 3. So this game has been anticipated. It's been in early access for I think 3 years, but it's finally out. But only for PC. And so this was supposed to come out on Xbox, but there's been some mention from the devs that, well, because they can't scale really anything back or kind of cut out some features like split screen, they can't really run it on the Series S right now. And so the Series S currently doesn't have the hardware to run the game as they've designed it for Series X, and they're not allowed to have different versions between the Series X and the Series S. And this isn't the first time that developers have said it's been a pain or it's been frustrating or things have been delayed, because they have to make the game also just like it is on X as on S. And so this is kind of really starting to become a bummer. So far there is no release date for Xbox. It's likely it'll be sometime early 2024 when they work it out. But the biggest issue is that the GPU and the RAM can't keep up, can't do the computations, cannot run the game effectively, and they're not willing to compromise on too much. They just want to try to find a workaround or try to find a way to keep the game wholesome and in its entirety, and release it well. So we're going to have to wait on that. But currently on PC, oh man, it is doing wonderful. This currently has a 93, 94 out of 100. People have been enjoying this game so far. Its peak players is like 800,000 players just on PC. Again, it's not on PS5 or Xbox yet. People are saying that the gameplay is fun, the dialogue is well written, voice acting is good, there's no microtransactions, there's no crappy battle pass. I mean, the game has a ton of content, and it's just really, really good. The focus is the experience, not the grind. And so people have really been enjoying it. Even the developers have said, they don't want to make the game have additional stuff to make the game better. They want people to just buy the product as a game and have all of the content right there for the experience. And so they're not going to make any microtransactions for this. There will be no battle pass. There aren't going to be any other shenanigans with them trying to get you to spend more money on a game. Doesn't that sound great? Why the heck are people still playing Diablo 4? In my opinion, that game is junk. So far, it's basically a 2.1 or a 2.2 out of 5. It's horrible. And again, it's just the macrotransactions, the stuff that they've changed in the game, the fact that it doesn't feel challenging at all until you basically get to the end game. Yeah, the fact too that their servers aren't stable enough, so people that have basically the hardest difficulty and are on permadeath, as soon as the server goes offline, their character's gone, and all of the work. And then every season or whatever, you have to start all over anyway. I mean, what is the point of that? What is the point of that? I can't even understand why you basically have to restart every few months. That sounds ridiculous. And then people paid money for that? Are you out of your rocks? Anyway, that's just my opinion. But yeah, this game, Baldur's Gate 3, really resonates as like Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, and Elden Ring, where, again, the game was a product. It wasn't a service. And there's a huge difference here. A product is an experience, or an event is an experience, right? But a service is where you have to chronically keep paying in order to maintain the service. And then the people that provide the service can tweak and change and adjust stuff, whether gaming related or not. We know this with like Netflix, and we've seen this already with Game Pass, or with PlayStation Essentials or PlayStation Plus. We've seen this with even like Amazon Prime, where things can be adjusted or shifted, or even GameStop, where things are changed simply because the company wants to. And so this is why I hate services, and I would rather have products. Is because ultimately they're cheaper, the quality is better because it has to be. Otherwise, they can't sell it to you because you won't buy it. And then the other thing, they're not likely to change very much. So you get what you pay for. With services, even as we're going to be experiencing with Game Pass here, we're going to be seeing if the changes over time are really worth it. And, hopefully they are. But again, $17 a month, that's pretty expensive. Especially when everyone's trying to save money right now. Also, the studio plans to stay private, as in they're not for sale. And we did see in some court filings that even Xbox was looking at buying Lorien Studios. But yeah, Lorien is not for sale. They're going to be staying private. They're going to be staying small. They're not going to have some megacorp overlord screwing up their games. So, yeah, I think Lorien Studios is a great studio to put on your list along with From Software and those that made Hogwarts Legacy, which I can't remember at the moment. But yeah, there are still some good studios out there, folks. And they're the ones that deserve the pre-orders. They're the ones that deserve our time and purchasing games at full price. Let's see. At the very end, so the game's coming out this month. Baldur's Gate 3, it's already out. We also have Atlas Fallen. We also have Stray, that's coming out on Xbox. We have Madden 24, woohoo, enjoy your NFT garbage. Mortals of Avium, which I think that just got pushed back. It's been delayed until like September, October. So not too far, but again, it's delayed. And then Armored Core 6 at the end of the month. Of course, there's some other games. You can always go to Wikipedia and see what games are coming out this month. But those are kind of some of the bigger ones. It looks like Baldur's Gate 3 is going to take it. It's already doing so well. Atlas Has Fallen also kind of looks like a fun, interesting one. That's also co-op, which I'm excited about. Stray, which was nominated for Game of the Year, and a few other things. Madden, you sports people I don't understand, but that's okay. I love you anyway. Immortals of Avium, nothing overly unique or interesting, but it is one of the bigger ones that was pushed during the showcase. The showcase is. Then Armored Core 6. It's a From Software game. What more do I need to say? So that's your gaming news for August. Hopefully you guys are doing well. Remember to be mindful of of the storms and stuff. Boy, we saw some good storm clouds even on our vacation. But yeah, the kind of the Midwest and the East Coast, I think they're going to be getting it pretty rough this fall and into next winter. And so yeah, be careful out there. Plan a little bit. Make sure you always got some water on hand and stuff. And then, folks, you guys that watch this channel, just hang on. If you have families or you have some kids or you're a single dad, oh man, the stress is mounting. And I want to do an economic video another update. But boy, there is just so much data coming out right now. I'm going to continue to do a little bit more research and gathering and make sure I have all my ducks in a row before I do that vid. But yeah, just hang in there. Be smart with your money, folks, please. Remember that this channel is not just for entertainment, but it's also to invest in you folks and kind of be and give a warning. Not just for gaming in the industry, but also just for economics or anything else. You know, and as my wife and I continue to grow as parents and grow in our marriage, we're going to be sharing that too on the channel. So we also are going to be doing It Takes Two sometime later this year. At least we're going to start that. And yeah, we're excited. We're excited to share that. You know, 58% of marriages end in divorce, and among Christians and some other religions, it's still 50%. So it's really not that good. And my wife and I, you know, we kind of do it differently. We've had a lot of people, even Christians, you know, of our own religion, are just kind of like, yeah, well, you know, you don't have to do it that way. And it's like, yeah, but I think we're living proof so far that it actually is pretty good, that it actually works pretty well. And it's because what we're doing in our marriage, we are setting a firmer foundation in which stress can be piled on and it won't buckle. That's really the goal. That's really what we're building. And it's not like, you know, first we had that first inch of thickness, and then we've built it up to 2 and 3 and 4 and 12 inches and so on and so forth. You know, I don't have a number of how thick ours is, but even this week on our vacation, I can tell we leveled up this week. There were some things that didn't go perfect, that were very stressful. Just full-blown, both kids screaming, yelling in the car for, you know, a couple of hours. I ain't even kidding, folks. Yeah. And, yeah, there were plenty of other things, too. But overall, our vacation was good. But, yeah, my wife and I, we definitely leveled up as parents. And, 2, we also took some time just to sit and just kind of chat. Just chat about where our marriage is at and where it's going and where we would like it to be. So that's important to do, folks. And so if you're interested, even if you're single, I encourage you guys, especially as you are the leaders of this world, even if you don't feel like it, you know, keep working your way there. Keep leveling up. I encourage you guys to come and watch and listen to It Takes Two, and I'm sure all of you can glean something. You know, ultimately, if you have a state of mind to learn and to grow and to gain wisdom, you can find it. But if it's just like, well, let's just have fun, let's just do something mindless all the time, you're really not going to get very far in the long term. And a good way to check is if you can look back and you can say, oh, yeah, I'm just like I was a couple years ago. That means you didn't grow at all. You didn't level up. You didn't move forward on anything. If you can look a year ago and say, wow, look at where I used to be. Look how angry I used to get, or how frustrated I would get at something, or where I used to be financially, you know, where my marriage used to be. If you can see the change from then to now, that's good. Keep going. And so with that, folks, hang in there. Keep going. You guys can always rest here at the channel. And believe me, sometimes I just rest here too. Just to chat with you guys, just to do something fun and engaging and kind of just reset my batteries a little bit, reset my breaker. Because, yeah, things even like this vacation was fun. It was really draining. It was really draining as parents. And, yeah. So hang in there, folks. Keep charging on. And I'll see you on the next one.